can fly.
Good day everyone, this is Wings95 back with another video today, and this is a video coming off a few videos ago when I did an Xbox One X unboxing. And as you can see right now, I am playing World War II, the multiplayer. It is on the X, this footage, which is pretty important for the video that I'm doing today. As you would have seen by the title, this is the video comparison that I said I would do in the Xbox One unboxing video. So in this video, you'll be seeing multiple clips that are both recorded on the original Xbox One, one bought 3 to 4 years ago, and the Xbox One X, which is less than a week old. So I will have them side by side, going at the same time, all of that stuff you'll see in a moment. And at the end, I'll give you some sort of verdict as to whether or not the X is actually worth it, because really the X comes down to the graphics. That's what Microsoft has always talked about, the graphical power of the X and all of the other types of powers it has. So that's what we'll be looking at today. So first of all, we have a World War II clip. This is in the headquarters, and as you can see at the moment, it's the original Xbox One, and now coming from the left hand side of the screen, you'll see the Xbox One X footage taking over. Now that's very quick, you can't really see much there, but here we are at the firing range, got a trusty shotgun out, and it immediately changes over to the original Xbox. So you can see in the corners whether it's an X clip or an original clip. Obviously OG stands for original, and as you can see in those two shotgun shots, there's nothing really different. So now I'm loading up some incendiary ammo, seeing if that will be any different. Looks pretty nice on the original Xbox. Now we have the X, still looks pretty nice. Let's take a closer look in slow-mo. But yeah, it's just looking like some nice incendiary ammo. Now we have the X back. It pretty much looks the same. I mean, you can't really tell much of a difference when you're looking at them one after the other. So now we have them both going at the same time. This is 200% zoomed in. So obviously the graphics are toned down a little bit because it is zoomed in. But pretty much you can see the two incendiary ammo shots. They look a little bit different, but who knows, that could be where I shot or something as to why. But here, I paused because I feel like there's a reasonable difference. If you look at the X and you look at the original Xbox, yes, there seems to be more of a spread with the original Xbox, which might just be a unique gunshot from the shotgun, but I still think that it's a lot more fuzzy on the original Xbox compared to the Xbox One X. But really, we're looking at a single frame that you would never notice in a normal gameplay. But I do think there is some sort of a difference there. If you see in the water at the very bottom, the water seems clearer with the reflection, because reflections are a reasonably difficult thing to do in games and stuff like that. So this is a very tiny piece of evidence to the Xbox One X being a lot better, but I think it's worth noting down. So let's continue on now to the next clip. This is another place in the headquarters where you can look out over the battlefield, I guess, at the beach. I don't know where the headquarters is actually placed, but you can see quite a bit here. Obviously the clouds are in a slightly different position and all that, but it's pretty much the same picture, and I don't know about you, but I can't really see that much of a difference. Maybe a little bit here and there. You maybe can see out slightly further with the X. It's slightly better quality, but in general, when you're looking in the foreground, my guy looks pretty much the same in both of them. They could pretty much be taken the same photo from each of the Xboxes. Who knows? You have to trust me that the X is on the left and the original Xbox is on the right, because I can't really tell much of a difference in this clip. So now we're going on to the next game, Assassin's Creed Origins. This is obviously a massive game. There's so many places to go, but I thought we'd look at Alexandria first, which is a little bit different landscape to the rest of Assassin's Creed because it is in a city, and there aren't many cities out in Egypt at this time, at least not that we can explore. So I've done this sync point here on top of whatever that place is, and this once again is on the Xbox One X. But now we go to the original Xbox. It is a different time of day. That's something important to note. So obviously it does look slightly different. The problem with Assassin's Creed is there are so many different weather conditions and times of day and stuff that I would never be able to get the exact same time and weather condition on both Xboxes. So you'll just have to make do with what I've got here. But already, as we transition over the roof, I can see that's kind of staring me in the face there. On the roof, the shadows are having a little bit of a problem. They're like, I don't even know how to describe that, but they're going one by one. It's not a linear fade out, it's just in and out. So you'll be able to see it better here where they are side by side. X on the left, original on the right. Obviously, it's a little bit more foggy on the X, brighter on the original, but now you can see the temple roof. It looks so much better on the original Xbox because those shadows are having some problems on the roof. That just kind of takes the realistic feel out of it when graphics are doing stuff like that. But on the X, looks perfect. Once again, that could be something to do with the time of day. Maybe if I go back in an hour on Assassin's Creed on the X, it will do the same thing. Maybe it's just having a problem with where the sun is in the air. Who knows? This is the best footage I could get. But you can't go to ancient Egypt without checking out Giza, of course, where the pyramids are. So once again, we're back on the X here, and it's so pretty. Look at that. We're on top of the pyramid. Nice golden little top on the pyramid. It just looks good. It's a slightly different time of day, so that fog or sandstorm or whatever that was rolling through is gone. But now we're on the original Xbox, and once again, I don't know about you, but I can't really see a difference when we play it back one by one. So once again, there's going to be a side-by-side view now, and they look exactly the same. There's nothing staring at me this time like back in Alexandria. Maybe if you look closely at the sun in the water, yeah, the sun is a lot more spread out in the original Xbox footage, but once again, it could be just the time of day. Who knows? But that is just me nitpicking there because I really can't find anything else to talk about in this clip because they look exactly the same. Now the next clip is something that I found kind of interesting. It's not so much graphical, but it's just different. After examining two completely new games, with World War II coming out a week ago and Assassin's Creed coming out 2 weeks ago, I thought, why don't we scroll back time a little bit, back to the 360. Of course, both Xbox One and Xbox One X have the ability to play 360 games. So when you go into a 360 game, you get the 360 logo, the intro. As you would turning on any console, you get a little bit of an intro and you can see what console you're playing if you don't know already. But if you go to this and you put them side by side immediately, there seems to be some sort of discrepancy in the Xbox One X and the Xbox original load times, because as you can see, my game Dirt Showdown, its loading wallpaper is still up while the X has started the intro. So as you can see, these two are exactly the same. It's as perfectly synced as I could ever possibly get it. They're doing exactly the same thing at exactly the same time. But once again, if you go back to the start and I take out the line now, it looks exactly the same, but for some reason the original Xbox just keeps that wallpaper on 2 or 3 seconds longer than the X. I don't know why that is. I don't know if that was a decision or what, or if somehow the X is just loading it up slightly faster. Who knows? Obviously it doesn't affect anything in the slightest. I think it's just an interesting thing to note when these two are like exactly the same. So now we're actually in Dirt, and this is an opening sequence. Like when you go into any map or race, it shows you like a few little clips. As you can see here, I have the line through the middle, so you can see that the X is on the left and the original is on the right, and they're exactly the same. Yeah, there might be a few textures different. The sync isn't 100%. It's just a tiny bit different, but you would never notice any difference. I mean, this isn't worth spending $600 on a console for whatever the difference is there. Now we're actually in the game here, and this is just me waiting at the start line. I got the line through the middle where you can see, but what if we take out that line? you wouldn't know if they're two different consoles. That is exactly the same without the line. Once again, you just have to trust me that these still are two different clips side by side, because there is absolutely no difference right there, other than I think maybe some clouds are in a slightly different place in the background, but that is simply just the game. It has nothing to do with the two consoles. But now actually into the driving aspect of the car. Yeah, I'm not very good at doing exactly the same thing in a car twice in a row, but I'm looking over the lake now. Once again, the clouds are in a different spot, but other than that, there seems to be no real graphical difference from the original Xbox to the Xbox One X, even on a 360 game that has been out for, I don't know, 10 years or so. Yes, this was later in the 360 lifespan, so it already did look quite good, but still, there is absolutely no difference. I would assume an X could do a lot better than that if the game was made nowadays, but it doesn't make any difference to games made all the way back then. So now we're back to some Xbox One X footage of World War II. As you saw, I looked at 3 different games trying to get them as similar as possible, and looking at the different graphics also that it has. And I don't know if you're surprised about this. I'm not 100% surprised, but I couldn't notice any difference, really. Not in at least graphics. Yeah, there's some little bit time differences with that Xbox 360 logo. I don't know what's up with that, but really, it looks exactly the same. Where the Xbox One X will shine is, of course, if you have a 4K TV, which I do not. And obviously, I'm not uploading this in 4K. If I was, maybe you guys would be able to see the difference if you had a 4K TV as well. If you have a 4K TV, you can pretty much throw this video out the door because it doesn't really apply to you. In theory, the Xbox One X should be able to give you so much better quality if you have a 4K TV, not a 1080p video or a 720p monitor like I have. And given 4K TVs are still quite expensive, I don't expect that many of you really would have a 4K TV. So if you're thinking about getting an Xbox One and you don't have a 4K TV, then I would probably get a 4K TV first, because a 4K TV can still help your original Xbox. It won't be able to be played on 4K, but it's still the 1080p I'm sure will look great. However, having said all of that, that hasn't taken into account any of the other things that the Xbox One X is good for. For instance, load times. I haven't noticed a huge difference, but there is a difference in load times for the X over the One. I've only had it for a few days, so it's kind of hard to get a real gauge in load times anyway, especially since load times can vary day to day in some games, especially with updates coming through and all that. But the Xbox One X is better in load times. So right now, especially without a 4K TV, there's not really much difference that I can see owning both consoles and playing games on both of those consoles. There doesn't really seem to be that much difference. You might have a different opinion. You might be absolutely loving your Xbox One X. You might have a 4K TV, in which case I envy you because the quality you're getting would be amazing. Comment down below if you agree with my verdict here that the Xbox One X isn't really worth the $600 unless you have a 4K TV. So remember to comment, do you even have an Xbox One X? I'm still wondering about the sales in this. Is the everyday person buying an X, or is it something that they're just handing out to YouTubers pretty much to get even better quality off YouTube? So, do you have an Xbox One X? Do you think it's worth it to buy a Xbox One X? If so, please remember to comment down below and like this video if you found this useful to making your decision about getting an Xbox One X. Are you going to wait until you get a 4K TV? I'm really interested in what you guys think about this. I put a lot of effort into this video, so I hope you guys really enjoyed. So thank you all for watching, and cheers everyone.